still here. Good. Most don't sit this long. But you've started to see, haven't you? Not just the flame, but the shape behind it. The shape of something waking, something old. The fire trembles not with fear, but with recognition, because tonight the darkness steps forward. Last we left them, Kael, Lira, Ashen, and Nyra stood atop the Hidden Sanctum, seeds of power in their palms, and the echo of a warning still ringing in their bones. The balance was fracturing. The wound had reopened, and something was coming through. They didn't run. They didn't falter. They stepped into the storm. The rift above widened, bleeding shadow and silence into the sky. It wasn't just dark. It drained. The color bled from the trees. The wind held its breath. The mountain itself seemed to retreat. Kael reached to the ground, trying to feel the rhythm of the earth, but found none. The stone beneath him had grown mute. Lira sensed it too. The water in the air no longer sang. It stilled, heavy, watching. Ashen's flame flickered low, struggling to breathe in the presence of the void. And Nyra's wind lost direction, tugged not by breeze, but by despair. Something descended. It didn't fall. It folded into reality, like a shadow peeling off the sky. It had no face, only a shape that shifted, sometimes like a man, sometimes like a beast, sometimes like memory itself. Its voice did not come from its mouth, but from inside their minds. You were not meant to wake, it said. The elements were meant to sleep. The balance was not broken. You broke it. The aspirants stood their ground. Nyra stepped forward first, voice steady, even as her hair floated in suspended air. You don't speak for balance, you speak for silence. The being smiled without lips. I am what balance becomes when left alone too long. Then the wind screamed. The first strike came like a thought, fast, cruel, without form. A blast of void aimed at Kael, meant to unmake, not just destroy. He raised his hands, calling stone, but it crumbled before it could rise. So he stepped forward instead, took the blow with chest and will. The ground cracked but did not collapse. Lira summoned a wave from within her own body, lashing the shadow with memory and tide. It hissed and split, but reformed faster than she could blink. Ashen burned, not in anger but in clarity, fire to counter the cold. His flames reached, coiled, took shape as a phoenix of light, but it faltered as the void consumed oxygen itself. Nyra danced between the strikes, moving not to avoid but to reveal. Each dodge traced a path in the air, and from her fingers, wind sharpened into blades. She cut, and where she struck, the shadow bled smoke. But it learned. Each element it encountered, it adapted. The more they fought alone, the more it absorbed. It was not one darkness. It was all that had been forgotten, all that had been denied. The entropy of memory. Kael gritted his teeth. We can't fight it this way. Lira nodded. We must do as we did before. Ashen raised his palms. Together. Nyra inhaled deeply. Not four. One, they stepped inward until their hands touched. Stone to water, fire to air, and the seeds responded. Their bodies began to glow, pulses of light tracing their veins, matching the breath of the world. Kael became the root, Lira, the flow, Ashen, the flame, Nyra, the current. Their elements no longer clashed. They chose each other. The being hesitated. The void, once fluid, faltered, as if unsure. The first strike in unison wasn't an attack. It was a pulse, a declaration. The wind lifted Kael's stones. The fire wrote Lyra's wave. Ashen's flame spun in Nyra's vortex. They became one element, not separate, but a circle, and the circle moved. The darkness struck again, furious now, more shape than ever. It split into many, trying to surround, to isolate, but wherever it tried to divide, the aspirants unified. Kael slammed his fist down. Stone erupted not from earth, but from memory. It towered, engraved with ancient names, refusing to forget. Lira summoned a sphere of water around the void itself, freezing it in mirrored memory. "Look," she whispered, "see yourself." Ashen ignited the air around the mirror, searing it with clarity, burning illusion. And Nyra whispered into the smoke, breathed, and turned chaos into calm. The being screamed, not in pain, but in exposure. It couldn't survive recognition. Not here, not when faced. The aspirants did not destroy it. They named it. They gave it form. And in that form, it became finite. With one last surge, it fractured into 1,000 motes of ash and silence, and vanished into the air. Silence returned, not empty, but sacred. The mountain stirred, the stars, hidden until now, blinked open. The stone hummed again. The water flowed again. Fire breathed. Wind laughed. Balance restored. The aspirants collapsed, not from defeat, but release. The seeds in their hands had dimmed, but now pulsed within their chests. The mountain stirred. The stars, hidden until now, blinked open. The stone hummed again. The water flowed again. Fire breathed. Wind laughed. Balance restored. The aspirants collapsed, not from defeat, but release. The seeds in their hands had dimmed, but now pulsed within their chests. They had not been protectors of the elements. They had become them. From the summit of the sanctum, they looked across the land. The world had not changed, but their eyes had. The guardians of before, those shimmering keepers, stood at the edges of the circle. They did not speak. They only bowed. One by one, the aspirants turned away from the peak. There was no celebration, no victory call, only the quiet rhythm of steps moving forward, back toward a world still in need. So if one day you find the wind shifts without reason, or fire feels warm before it is lit, know that the balance is still held. Not perfectly, not always, but held. Because four once stood where no map led, and chose to face the thing no one would name, and they did not flinch. Another log, another breath. You've heard the confrontation now, the moment when the darkness came, but remember, shadows never end. They only retreat, and someday they return. Are you ready for when they do?